Hello everyone, so we've finished our combined colon and liver cleanse. So counting on the days, this is day 12. So our first 10 days were the colon cleanse, day 11 was a liver cleanse. And so now here we are the day afterwards. This is our first chance to speak about how it's been for us both. And I'm aware of feeling quite strange today, and energized and different. It's been a really exciting journey. Lots of change, that's to be expected. What I want to speak about really is the feelings. So when we study Chinese traditional medicine, we know that the colon relates the emotion of melancholy and sadness, and the liver relates the emotion of anger. And during the cleanse, there certainly were times when the anger was coming up for both of us, and there are times we felt the sadness quite strongly too. So it's helpful to be aware that when you're doing a cleanse, these emotions will come up, and the best thing to do is simply to feel them, and by feeling them, then they can move on. After the release of all the emotions, then the calmness seems to settle, which is very desirable. So something else I've noticed is immediately following the cleanse, I've got an enormous appetite, and I really do want to eat so much. And I know that's because there is a process, and it's called cleanse and build. Cleanse and build. So it's very important after you've been cleansing, you've been reducing your food, been living on no food, just the apple juice for the 5 days, and gradually introducing the food again. So it's very important to know that you need to build yourself up, and so therefore it's very important to listen to the body, what the body is asking for, and to honour that need that you have. And I can remember the very first food that I ate after the 5 days without food, and it was incredibly simple. All it was a steamed carrot and broccoli and boiled potato. Nothing else, just that. And yet it was incredible. All the flavours were so strong and so rich. So this is one of the benefits that we really get from doing without food, is that when we reintroduce it, the simplest flavours are very powerful, and so a great increase in appreciation for food. And this is something else we both noticed when we were actually doing the cleanse, is how much time and energy people put into food. And on one of our rare visits into the city, we noticed how everywhere it's food, food, food. So that's something, a big part of human life is dedicated to food and eating. And now that we're in the post-cleanse phase, yes, I'm absolutely loving eating. Definitely. So I'm going back, if I can, to certain key times. I can remember one particular day when a lot of irritation and anger came up, and it was actually quite difficult to handle. And I also remember feeling strongly I wanted to shout. This is something we did discover. Shouting is very good to release anger from the liver in a clean way without influencing and affecting other people. And we actually have a bridge near where I live, and I call it now the cleansing bridge. And you stand on the bridge and you're surrounded by the nature and the trees and the water from the rivers flowing underneath. And it's a really good way to release any strong emotions, is to make sounds and let them out, and to have water flowing away from you. That helps to cause the emotions to leave you. Very, very useful. And that reminds me of something else, which is just having much more awareness of the body than normal, and especially of the digestive system and the gut. And particularly there were times when it felt so wonderful after having a lot of the mucoid plaque being released, just to feel such an emptiness in the gut. That felt like a wonderful feeling. So this is my fourth cleanse, and the difference for me with this one is that I did have times when I really struggled to actually go to the toilet about the middle of the cleanse. I had massive difficulties with this, and it certainly helps if you have a toilet which you can take on a squatting position. Any squatting position makes it much easier to release. And so this is my little personal story with the emotions, because there was a particular point when I was having great difficulty in being able to go to the toilet and finding that very challenging. And actually the only way I could do it was to ask for a container, and sitting on the container, and it threw me back into a past memory of childhood which I'd really not remembered at all, totally forgotten about. And that was, I was about 2 years old, and I was sitting on the potty, and I wanted to go to the toilet desperately, and I couldn't go. And I can remember looking up at my mother, and I could feel all her judgment and irritation that I wouldn't just get on with it, and she probably had things she wanted to get on and do, and I was probably holding her up. So, because of my shamanic connections and ability to tune in, I was aware of being like in two places at once. I was like a 2-year-old child on the potty, and I was also very much in the present time on the container, attempting to go. And so it brought up a lot of shame for me. And so this is really what I want to say, is that during a cleanse, if really strong unexpected emotions come up or incidents from the past, it's so helpful, because what you're doing is you're releasing. And the cleanse is really all about releasing. So it's not just about releasing all that stored mucoid plaque in the colon. It's also about releasing these emotions as well, and also these past events. So it's a wonderful opportunity. The other thing I want to speak about is that with this cleanse, what we've done is we've been pioneers. We've been combining doing a traditional colon cleanse, which is using blessedherbs.com, coupled with Andreas Maritz's liver cleanse using the Epsom salts and the citrus fruits and the olive oil. And that's also something I wanted to add, is we both found that the citrus olive oil mixture was absolutely delicious. We loved it. And I reckon this is because, having been deprived of oils for so long, the body needs oils, especially the brain and the nervous system. They're over a third fat, so when you're doing without oils, that's a really big deal. So that was a really big influx of oils that the body was desperate for and craving for. And that's something else I want to add. There were times during the cleanse when I felt really stupid mentally, very dull, really not bright, not at all clear, and that's part of it. States of confusion are also to be expected, which is why it really is such a shamanic initiation. So what we added to our cleanse was working with the plant medicines as well. We both work with the green medicine and also the white medicine. And for anyone who wants to know what we mean when we refer to these medicines, I'm just simply referring to the film I've already made, which is called The Green, the Brown and the White. And it's all in there, the explanation of these different medicines. And I can see that in the future it will be a brown medicine with this kind of a cleanse, but that will take more time and more research to find out how to do that. So for me, the green medicine was so much about helping to relax. Relaxing helps to release, and as you've heard Waxara speaking about resistance, that really did come up for both of us. So the releasing of the resistance has helped enormously by the green medicine. And there's something else I want to add, which is that it's helpful to remember that everything we do in life is a game. It's a game. As Shakespeare said, all the world is a stage, and we are but players on this stage. We take our entrances and our exits, we have our dramas, so this is part of life very much. So then the other thing to speak about is the white medicine and how that works. So I was microdosing the white medicine, very small amounts indeed, a maximum of 1 gram at a time. And I felt that the white medicine really helped to bring the light to the body. And then actually on the day of the liver cleanse I did some drawings, which you will see on this film, and they are really helpful to help to understand how the process works. And when I drew the image of the liver, I drew all this light radiating out from it, because that's what I could see. I could actually see the liver having light radiating from it, which is a sign of health and vitality. So that really begs the question, which is, why put yourself through such a strong process? Why do a cleanse at all? Well, for some people, like for myself, it's because I want to increase my sense of vitality And I was aware before the cleanse of having rather a lot of dark energy and just feeling very tired most of the time, not having my normal sense of vitality, which I feel is returning. And something we've both spoken about this morning is, although theoretically the cleanse is over as it's day 12, it feels like it's very much continuing, and that's important to say that, and so to be careful and listen to the body as to what the body wants. My body has just been saying, you just need more, you need more, you need more. And that's because I've got a fast metabolism. Anyone doing a cleanse on the fast metabolism, you will find at the end you will want to eat huge amounts to build yourself up. If you've got a medium or a slow metabolism, that's not going to be an issue for you. And I guess that's another thing I want to say. During the cleanse itself, it's really advisable to have very low expectations of yourself. Don't expect much. There were various things I had intended to do on the cleanse, and they just weren't appropriate. They demanded too much energy. So sometimes you just don't want to do artwork or any of these creative things. Actually, sometimes you want to find something nice and simple to watch on the TV, and for us, watching The Good Witch was incredibly helpful. I'll elaborate a little bit why. What's important about that TV show is that the characters are coming from a good place. They have their difficulties, they have their challenges like everyone. They get into their negative spaces, they get into the resistances, but the overall theme is very upbeat and uplifting. So if you do want to watch something, make sure it's uplifting. It's really helpful. That's it. So taking good care about the influences you have coming to you. And then the other thing for me that I found that the times when we went into the city were actually very challenging, and I feel doing a cleanse, it's ideally as much as possible to be in nature as often as you can, and to have quiet times and not to go anywhere busy. And Wax, I was already spoken about the about the Himalayan salt bath which she had, and one needs to be careful with that. There's a very strong detox in its own right, and I had plenty of Epsom salts baths during the 10 days, and that's helpful too. And I suppose this is another advantage of working with the plant medicines, is that when it comes to having something to drink that might be a bit challenging, like maybe the Epsom salts itself, rather than going into resistance, what I do is I just go into savouring the flavour of whatever it is, just experiencing it as it is. And so here's another really important detail. The foundation of the cleanse is the apple. The apple is a representation of eternity and beauty. It's a very powerful plant spirit in its own right. And we discovered that the best apples are the ones that produce obviously the most juice. And in the UK, if you can get hold of organic Braeburn apples from Tesco's or from Sainsbury's, you get a massive amount of juice and very little pulp, which is very kind on the juicer, and it's much easier for you to drink and delicious. So I want to speak about what we did with additions. The things that we added to our cleanse, at times when we felt the need for it, we added pineapple to our juice. Pineapple is very nourishing and supporting for the liver. And also pomegranate we added to the juice. And there's a combination of Braeburn apple with pineapple and pomegranate. It's one of the most delicious flavours I've ever encountered. Really worth doing. So pomegranates have just got so many health benefits and properties, major antioxidant, major cleanse, major detox. You can look it all up for yourself online. If you Google pomegranate, you'll be surprised and delighted by what a powerfully useful fruit it is. And when it comes to pineapple, make sure you get a ripe one, or wait until it's ripe before you used it. That's when you get the best flavour and the best benefits. So I think that about wraps it up, really. So the body of the cleanse, or the foundation of the cleanse, is the apple. The body of the cleanse is using the blessed herbs, toxin absorber and digestive stimulators, and then adding whatever extra juices you wish to add, and in our case working with the powerful plant healers, the green medicine and the white medicine. One more thing I want to say to you is it's very helpful to do your cleanse either in the spring or the autumn. This is because these are the most suitable and appropriate times for the liver. Liver really benefits from working in the spring and the autumn. It's not so good to do this in the summer or the winter. And then for pure practicality, the apple harvest is in the autumn. So my feeling is I would like to do a colon cleanse once a year in apple season in the autumn time. And that's my cue, because I went into a big disappointment, because when I did my liver cleanse, and I had a look every time I got excited, and I thought, oh, this is it, and it wasn't. I didn't get liver stones at all this time, so the 2 liver cleanses I had done the previous 5 years ago must have actually been very effective. And also I realised that working extensively and frequently with plant medicines over the last 5 to 6 years has meant my liver has had many detoxes, and it's in a really good state. So in conclusion, go for a cleanse. It's really good. Thank you very much. Hello there. So this one is called After a Cleanse. If you've done a cleanse, you need to be aware afterwards that it's not over. You're in what we call the post-cleanse phase. And during the post-cleanse phase, you need to be aware of a few things. First of all, when you start to eat, you want to be gradual about it, and you want to tune into your body very carefully indeed. If your body's got a fast metabolism, you're going to find your body is going to be demanding things really quickly. If you've got a medium or a slow metabolism, it might take longer to kick in. And listening to the body is so very important, because every individual is going to be drawn to different kinds of foods, but there is a golden rule. If you're drawn to very sugary foods, it means your sense of judgment is still not natural, because a natural judgment rejects excessive quantities of sugars. And if you're someone who really likes sugar, that might really surprise you, but it's true. Thinking about doing a cleanse, you've had all those days without such things. Only the natural sugars and the apple juice, which are completely absorbable by the body. So in this post-cleanse phase, retune in to the kind of foods you're attracted to, and if you're a vegan and you find yourself craving meat, listen to the body. If you're a meat eater and you find yourself craving vegetables, listen to the body. The body always knows best. So this is the formula that my sister gave me to do with cleansing, which is you cleanse and then you build. You cleanse and then you build. So in the building phase, which is where I am at now, I'm attracted to strong foods. Things like baked beans without sugar, cheese, lamb's liver, spinach, potatoes, and also a bulletproof chocolate, bulletproof hot chocolate, or a bulletproof decaf, or even a bulletproof coffee if that's your thing. You could find that really helpful for the nervous system. You may be inclined to eat more oils because you've just had a period of time without eating any oil to speak of. Remember that the nervous system and the brain is more than 1/3 fat. So increasing your consumption of oils and fats would make sense at this time. And something else which is to do with your environmental situation. Be aware that sounds will sound louder and lights will appear brighter. And if you want to put this to the test after your cleanse, if you were to be, shall we say, adventurous enough to go and see a film in a cinema, well, let me just say you will be surprised by both the sounds and the lights, just how strong and overpowering they seem. And so you might start to come to some conclusions, and one of them is that society has got to the point where everything is very loud and actually quite aggressive and full on. That's because people, generally speaking, are in a state where they're rather closed down and they're rather blocked up, having a colon full of mucoid plaque and liver full of stones. So it's a great adventure, the cleanse. I do heartily recommend it. And the other thing is just to be careful with your social interactions. If you don't feel like going out, then stay in. If you do feel like going out, fair enough. And be sensitive to how long you might want to be out for. City centres are going to feel more extreme than perhaps they usually do. And any chance to go into wild nature is probably going to be accepted with alacrity. So yeah, tune into the body, be aware, and realise you've done yourself the favour of a lifetime. Whatever kind of a cleanse you've done, you've made a huge difference in your own personal health and well-being, and that will go out and express itself and affect all the people around you. All the love to you.